Hi, it's Penny Bowden here. There is always something to draw. Look what I have today. Lovely little piece of broccoli. So I'm going to start by having a good look at it, decide which side I want to draw it from. I'm thinking maybe this side, just because it has these little gaps between the stem. And it doesn't have to look exactly how we see it. We just want to make sure it looks like broccoli. This one's getting a little old. It's not real fresh anymore, but we don't have to show that. So just have a look at it, set it aside, and I want to draw it a little bigger than life. I've got it sitting at a nice angle there. It gives it a bit of a character, a bit of tilt. But when I draw the top, I just kind of want to get a feel of it, and then I want to make it not so smoothly round. I want to give it some character. I always like to get character into my drawings. And of course, that's a matter of personal style. You always need to be drawing in your own style, and sometimes that's hard to discover. It's really just an extension of your personality. So I just want to get a feel for what I want to do first. Just kind of want bumpy top, you know, and some interesting shape. So I always like to get a feel first. So that way I'm practicing before I even put pen to paper. I'm feeling like I want to come from this side, and it's funny, usually I want to start at this side. I'm just kind of letting my intuition guide me as to what makes an interesting clump of broccoli. I said I was going to draw it larger than life, and that's not really larger than life, is it? I guess it's kind of a habit of mine to, when I draw small things, to want to draw them the same size. It just kind of happens. But we'll work with this. So I like how my shape is interesting. You know, it's got interesting dips and bumps. And then I'm going to look at this around here. I'm a little bit shaky right now because of medication I'm taking. So please bear with me. I've had a bit of a struggle with my health lately, and I want to get back into this anyways. So I got the top of it pretty much. This is what goes in behind. And then I want to take a feel for how the stem goes down. It's much like a tree, isn't it? So I'm going to get this swoop here first. And I kind of, when I do the drawing, I'm looking at the broccoli out of the corner of my eye, but not paying attention to exactly what it looks like, just the general idea, the swoop. So that's what I've got there. And the other side. And to add the interest of these little stem breaks up here, I just want to get some V's in here. And I just want to make them look convincingly like broccoli stems. So if anything, they would get bigger as they go down, not bigger as they go up. The stems, I mean, or the branches, or whatever you want to call them. And these little V's that I make, I want to make them different interesting shapes. There's one kind of tucked behind there. these ended up pretty uniform, 1, 2, 3. I would have rather had them, you know, maybe a bigger space between two of them than the other two. But I don't worry about it too much because it's practice. And the thing is with drawings like this, you're always getting practice. Even if it's something you wouldn't seek out to draw, just grab anything to draw. Anything makes a good drawing subject. There's no boring subjects, just boring artists. Okay, so I want to get a bit of lines in here. I think that made it look a little more like broccoli. And to get some of this texture, I just, you know, want to look at the texture and see that I can get little swirlies around to make it look like broccoli texture, but I don't want to fill it all in either, because that would just make it one mass lump with no interest. So I just want to start with, you know, a bit of this sort of thing. This kind of makes it look like that part's behind. I don't want to fill this all in, but I'm not going exactly by what I see. In order to make it a little bit 3D, I would think about where the light might be hitting it, and I'm thinking the light might be hitting it from straight on. So then the parts that are closer to us would appear to be lighter. You know, so still pretty shaky, very difficult to control. So I'm making sure that I leave interesting spaces, shapes. All these little squiggly lines are a bit different from one another, and that gives a bit of interest. And I feel like if I filled in any more than that, it would just be one massive shape of texture. So no interest for the eye to bounce around. So there's lots of different shapes of squiggly lines, and there's different shapes and spaces of where there's nothing. I don't think I want to take that any farther. If you like to use watercolor in your sketchbook, you could give it a gentle wash of green. It's up to you. So these are some I did before when I was thinking that I might do a video on drawing broccoli. Quite often I like the ones I did before, just because there isn't the performance anxiety involved, but this time I like the new one best. I do like these ones, but I think I got carried away with putting black in the background. I think it was just a bit too much for these simple drawings. I think my favorite is this one where the broccoli is facing us like this. You can always give it a bit of wiggle lines for character. My shakiness isn't helping with this. You know, it's up to you what you want to do with it. There's always something to draw, and you gain so much practice by just finding just anything and drawing it. Don't worry about if it's something that you're really passionate about, just find something and draw. So you can draw every day. Try not to get yourself into a slump where you don't draw for a while, because if you're not getting practice, you're not improving, and if you want to improve, you got to practice, practice, practice. But it should be fun. Take something ordinary and give it some character and have fun with it.